Sorry, 16. Looks like I win this one.
Hello fellow Android enjoyers, my name is TinyTorgue, and over the last 2 years I've been creating character guides for DBFZ on my own channel, giving me a pretty deep understanding of most of the characters and the game itself. Today DashFight has teamed up with me to bring you all a quick guide to Android 18, so to not miss any future guides, subscribe to DashFight and check out their websites for all things FGC. So Android 18 is a snowball character. She's kind of hard to get going with, but once she's in there, she's really hard to get off of you. That is mainly because she doesn't play very aggressively. She has a more defensive playstyle that banks on a single good punish. It may appear intimidating to play 18 because you see 18, you see 17 with a puppet aspect of the character, but it's really not that complicated since you don't really have to manage 17. You just call him when you need him to and he does his thing and he's gone, and that's really it. So if you're hesitating to pick her up because she seems intimidating, then don't worry about it. It is way more simple than it looks like. So let's start by talking about her buttons. Her most notable buttons are her 5L, her 5M, her 5S, and her JM. So her 5L is good because it has good range, moves it forward a bit, is good frame data. Most importantly, it hits low though. So that's really important for her stagger, pressure, and her mix. So her 5M is, I don't really want to call it Vegeta 5M, but it sort of feels like that, you know? I mean, look at it. It got a range buff in the last patch, so it actually is quite decent now as a poke. It's not quite as fast as Vegito, but you can see it's -5, it's spaced out, pretty decent range. It's just her longest reaching button, and one thing you could throw out with her. So her key blasts, she gets 5 of them. They're pretty standard, they're not extremely fast, not slow, but they're just nice to have. If you know how to use key blasts, you'll feel right at home with these as well. As for her JM, it has a hitbox on both sides, so that means you can just jump over the opponent without having to turn around and it'll still hit them. It's not that good for neutral, however for mix, it is invaluable. If you're talking about special moves, the most important ones are the 17 barrier and 2-on-4M. So the air barrier is a 2-on-4S input, quarter circle back special. You can only use it in the air, and if you land while you cast it, it will usually just give you the key blasts on the same input. J 2-on-4S barrier, rounded 2-on-4S is key blast. The 17 barrier is 18's most defining move. It absorbs all attacks except grabs and supers and builds meter for doing so. Anytime 18 is close to the ground, both players will have to consider the barrier. So if you're just jumping back, you can always call the barrier. If you're jumping at the enemy, they have to think about whether you can call the barrier or not. So for example, many point characters rely on the good old lariat into assist method to get their pressure started. With 18, however, this is prime fodder for an easy punish into a full confirm. So aggressive players will usually just feed straight into the barrier and get themselves punished, while more patient players will usually hesitate because they know the barrier is there and they will just surrender their turn without fighting back because they know it's a risk to hit the barrier, which just lets you get your pressure started without even calling the barrier or using assists. 2-on-4M, the medium 17 call, is just versatile across the entire character. It is great for lockdown, it is great for mix, it is an important combo tool, and you will see that throughout the video. A couple of worthy mentions though. 2-on-4S is 17 key blasts, he shoots 3 of them. They are useful for neutral for when people just jump back passively and don't really do anything. When they do that, you can just call 17 and just run behind the key blasts. And usually that will either mean they block the key blasts and you get your pressure started, they get hit by the key blasts, you get the full combo, but they try and super dash at you and you have time to 2H them. Another really useful special move is 236L, which is her light command grab. At 17 frames, this is unreactable, but the trade-off is that it has short range. So usually in pressure, you will have to both delay it slightly for it to connect, and you have to stay in range as well. Usually, you can just do 5L into a grab or a 2L into a grab. Yeah, this time it didn't work. Sometimes you will have to dash up into command grab. However, as another trick, you can do any block string at a 5M, slight delay 2p6L, and it'll also connect. Another special move I should explain is the EX17 call. The EX17 call stops opponent assist calls and tags for 5 seconds. If he is triggered during that time, he will track and attack the opponent anywhere on screen. Two things you need to keep in mind though is that your own assist calls will also cause him to disappear, and any other 17 call will just straight up cancel the EX17 call. So on paper this sounds great for neutral since now the opponent can't call assists, right? However, 18's neutral isn't that good either. You kind of have to be really honest about it, and many other characters will just simply out-neutral her. So this move is more useful for when it's a comeback situation, where you are a character or two down and the opponent still has all of theirs. So it kind of evens the playing field for her, but it's still not ideal. It is a lot more useful for Oki since it covers all options including delay tag, and sets up invisible, or practically invisible mix by calling it again. And then her most valuable part of the kit is her level 3. Her level 3 has a little bit of tracking, it has decent damage, hits multiple characters at once for some reason, but most importantly it gives you a level 3 mix at anyone's screen. This is a left-right 50-50 that you can get anywhere at all times as long as you have 3 bars, even in the corner, and I will explain exactly how the mix-up works later on in the Oki segment, but for now you just need to know that it is really useful to have.
Become DashFight's supporter on Patreon and get a chance to win a coaching session with a pro player. Click the link in the description.
So in summary, her strengths are her overwhelming pressure and her great Oki, along with her good support value in her level 3, which basically guarantees you a 2-touch after any combo. Her weaknesses are for sure her neutral, because she does not have anything that goes very far. She doesn't have the easy neutral skip like any lariats. The best thing she has is her 5M, which is okay, but it's not much. And I guess if the enemy is positioned right, you can call medium 17 and he will sort of lock them down for a bit, so you can put them into your assist range, I guess. Other than that, you will have to rely on your own base movement with super jumps, fast falls, air dashes, and just having general good neutral. The one saving grace, as I've said before, is this barrier. It allows you to play a bit differently to other characters, where you can put yourself in what seems to be a bad position, but then actually pull the barrier out and then turn the tides of the battle. Other weakness are for sure her assists. While her support value from the level 3 is good, her assists are niche or lackluster in general. So if you tag out the Frieza, for example, her A assist is the barrier. It functions just the same as the 17 barrier. An additional nice little thing is that once this is back, it does hide the Dragon Rush flash, so it's pretty nice for some sneaky Dragon Rushes. But there's no attack, there's no block stun, there's no hit stun, so you can't extend your combos with it, which, depending on the other character's eye that you play, it might just not be compatible with the team. Characters that have good solo damage will definitely benefit from the barrier more than characters that rely on multiple assists to both pressure and do their combos. The other assist is her Destructor Disc. Now this assist is much more standard, just the standard projectile. You can sort of treat it like any other projectile assist. The one thing you have to look out for is that it has a little bit less block stun than average. It has 26 frames of block stun. And the fact that the hitbox, if you look at where she spawns, where she throws the disc, it's quite close to the floor. So for example, an assist like Labka 21 will cover well over Frieza, while 18's disc starts under him and you may or may not whiff against certain people in certain positions. Other than that, it's a fine assist still. Then her C assist, don't bother with this one. There we go, 55 frames of block stun, that's all it does. It's just there because everyone needs to have a C assist. So moving on to her pressure, her basic block string is 5LL, 5M, 2M, 5S, 5H, 214L if you have no assists. This is -2 and you're spaced out pretty decently, so you can either just backdash or reset to neutral in general. Or if you do have an assist, you do 5LL, 5M, 2M, 5S, 5H assist, 214M. So ideally, you want this to be gapless, so you can check by making the opponent reflect. 5LL, 5M, 2M, 5S, 5H. So an example here. And you just can do the same string again, do whatever mix you want. But basically 17 is always plus 27 on block. So after your true string into 17, you either do IAD JM, and then after the JM you can either do JML for the double overhead. You can do JM and then with JH, and then it will land immediately. It'll look like you'll do a second overhead, but then you can do a low. You can just skip the overheads entirely and just go into fake a low. You can also do the JM with JH into the command grab. Or if you don't want to approach the enemy with a jump, you can also just run up and do a 5L, do run up grab, do run up 5L grab, do run up Dragon Rush. All of that just comes after assist call, medium, and then the 17 call. All of this comes after 5H assist with the 17 call. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stuff like that. What also works is you don't even have to jump in, you can just do 5H, assist bolts, do Dragon Rush, do run up 5L, do run up into cross up JM, that works really well, all sorts of stuff. It's really hard to block this properly, consistently, but that's the basic structure of her strings. Her stagger pressure is really good, she has 3 fast lows, and she has good frame data. Her stagger pressure will look something like this. As you could see, there was lots of lows there back to back, some of them with a gap, some of them without a gap. So if you try to reflect this in the pressure, then you have to stand up, you're probably getting hit by a low, it's always a gamble. Same thing with level 3s and reversals, so if you get unlucky and you reflect a level 3 while you're doing 2 back-to-back lights, the opponent's getting hit. If there is a gap, they can still DP out of it, but it's unlikely, it's hard, it's tight, so don't try it, ideally, unless you really, really want to. You can stagger on basically any of her buttons, so 5L is -4, 2L is -4, 5LL is -4 as well, yes. 2L is -4, 5M is -6, that's a bit worse, but it's still very usable because you can cancel into 2M very late. The 2M itself is -8, that's probably the worst, in quotation marks, stagger point she has, but as long as you stagger properly, you can still reset on this just fine. This is still pretty fast, and it's followed by another low. Her Key Blast, also safe. This is going to go into the Key Blast RPS in a second, but always remember to combine your stagger pressure with stuff like 6M, Dragon Rushes, and cross-ups. If you rotate your options well enough, you won't even need any cursed mix-ups, any 50-50s, because you already have to look out for so many things with 18, especially with command grab, that's always looming. If you do need a 50-50 though, in the corner, as with every character with a low 2L or 5L in this case, you can do the super dash 50-50. Basically at any point in the string you just super dash, and then you either land and do 5L, or you air dash into JM. Now of course the enemy can 2H this. The trick here is that if you stagger well, and you make it ambiguous whether you are going to the next button or resetting, you can just go into super dash. This is 21 frames point blank. This is tough to react to. So it's unlikely that you're getting 2H'd consistently in this, especially not in online play. So if you really need a 50-50 mix-up, you can do the super dash mix in the corner. Every character with a low 2L, or in this case a low 5L, can do a 50-50 in the corner using super dash. What you will want to do is you want to do stagger pressure, be a bit ambiguous, and then at random just super dash into the string, and then you can do air dash JM for the high option, or you do land into 5L for the low option. If you do it right, they connect on the same frame, it's completely unreactable, it's a pure guess. Thing is, since you're super dashing mid-string, there's a 21-22 frame window where you can be 2H. So with proper pressure, it becomes really tight to 2H because depending on how close you are, this can be 21 frames, it can be 22 frames. The point is, people aren't going to consistently react to this, especially not since you have all these options with you. So to make sure you don't get punished after the super dash, you want to call an assist afterwards to make it gapless. So it would look something like this. Same for the low option. That. So in practice, that was a 50-50. It works with basically any assist as long as it doesn't have less than 20 frames of block stun. Looking at you, Frieza. So another thing to add to your pressure is the Ki Blast RPS. The Ki Blast RPS is a universal mind game for every character that has a standard Ki Blast. The way this works is, when you block a low priority projectile like a Ki Blast, you can reflect or super dash early out of the block stun. Let me show you the difference. If I do a regular reflect here, this will reflect as soon as the block stun wears off of the Ki Blast. And that will make him do reflect immediately as soon as he can. See the difference? So when we do a string with a Ki Blast in it, followed up by any button, they can always reflect. So how do we stop them from reflecting? Well, easily by just doing the Ki Blast, then waiting, and then punishing them accordingly. Make the reflect whiff. We will basically make the enemy second guess whether they should reflect or not. If they decide not to reflect and just block like they should, they will just be forced to hold a reset if necessary. If they decide to block and not interact with you, they will let you reset your pressure and you can do the same string again and continue your offense again. Pushing them further to the corner, building more meter, all that stuff. So the way they beat that is by mashing out early. There you go, I tried to reset there with a dash, but I got hit. In this case I blocked, but usually you get hit. So to stop them from mashing, all you do is delay a 5H after the Ki Blast. There you go, that's a full punish. So to demonstrate, the opponent is now set to do a block string or do a Ki Blast, and then either frame trap me or reset that pressure. It is set to randomly do either one, I don't know which one's coming, so I have to guess what they're gonna do and anticipate it. So I didn't interact there because I was afraid, and they just got to reset that pressure for free. So this time I'm gonna try to challenge it and see if I get frame trapped. And I did. And then this time I'm gonna try to reflect and just get the 5H off of me. This time it worked. This time it worked. And this time I got punished for whiffing the reflect. So basically, it's a complete mind game. You can't really level 3 this either, because if they happen to dash block, they're completely safe and you get punished anyways. Same with DPs. So moving on to more character specific stuff, there's always this command grab to look out for. 17 frames, unreactable, as I've said before. The problem is that it has the short range, so you do need to be close to the enemies, and then also make sure that you delay it slightly in your pressure so that it doesn't override with your block string, with the block stun of your block string. So for example, I can do 5M into command grab and it won't work if I do it immediately. However, if I delay it slightly, I'm close enough and there's a big enough gap for it to actually connect. You need to keep in mind though when it is and it isn't worth grabbing people. For example, if they have full health, you have no resources, and you do this, you can't vanish off it, you can't really do anything, it's not really worth doing this in that case. If you do have 3 bars to level 3, or if they're in kill range for just super straight up, then it is probably worth to just grab them if possible. If you can't open them up otherwise, because this is gonna put them into 50-50 and guess the character. The other command grabs, they are slower with a little bit more range. The medium version actually gives you a full conversion, if I don't mess it up. However, you don't really have a way to knock them down without assists or meterlessly, so you're gonna end up in level 3 anyways, and at that point you might as well just use grab. The EX grab is faster than the medium one. Medium one is 26 frames, heavy one is 24. However, you have the added sound effect and visual cue of the EX flash, so keep that in mind. You can solo confirm this command grab though. Oops, let me try again. Again, haven't done this in a while, hold on. You can just super dash after. Yeah, there you go. Just do a regular super dash confirm. The other character specific thing she has is her 2S, which is very slow but also very plus on block. Plus on block, as you should know, should mean if they mash after blocking this, they lose, because it is not in their turn. So how you would use this is at any time in your string you just do a 2S and it's your turn again, you reset the string basically. The only thing you have to account for is whether they will reflect after this or not, sort of like the Ki Blast RPS. Now, since this is a Ki Blast and it's very slow, they can A, just super dash through it and punish you for it, or B, most characters, if their 5L reaches high enough, they can just mash out of it. The problem is, though, if they mash too late, say a couple of frames like this, they actually get hit and you get a full confirm. Another nice little trick that you can do with this is, since this puts are airborne, you can cancel the blocked hit into the barrier or into any other 17 call at that, and then continue your pressure from there. The benefit of doing barrier specifically is that you're hidden inside the barrier, you can go for a low, you can probably cross up at, depending on what you do. Let's have a look. Yeah, you can even cross up. Or the cheekiest part is, as I said before, it hides the Dragon Rush flash. That's really tight to see. So in summary, it is something you can pull out every once in a while, but it is a bit of a knowledge check mostly, or a little bit of a gimmick when you want to do stuff like this. So moving on to 18's BnBs, she does have access to the standard 7 BnB, but she can also add 17 in there for free damage. Trick here is to delay the 17 call by a bit and then also delay Super Dash a little bit. Otherwise, it could happen that something like this happens. Super Dash just whiffs entirely. It still happens to me occasionally, it's quite annoying, you'll get used to it, but as long as you delay the 17 call, it should be fine. If you're gonna use an assist, you can do something like this. This is where I run into the issue that they're 2H whiffs. So in longer combos, you will have to remove the J2H, because, for example, 18's J2H is 14 frames of startup, while someone like Blue Goku or someone else with a standard J2H launcher is about 10 frames, 11 frames, about that range. So in longer combos, you will have to remove the J2H, so if you see your combo drop at this point, just skip it, just do a regular jump cancel. You will also get quite a lot of 5H confirms with 18, so in those cases, you can use either this route, which is the regular 5H route. However, you will not get a knockdown because she doesn't have anything that could produce a knockdown except for the level 3. So if you had 3 bars, I would just go into level 3 there before you do the final JH. Alternatively, what you can do is, if you have a different character that can still knock down on their own, you can do light 17 call at the end and then special tag into the character that can knock them down still. It may have been hard to see there, but 18 spawned on the bottom of the screen under where the opponent was, knocked them up, and that counted as a hit for people to tag out on. If you want to take it one step further, you can also do the rejump version of the 5H route. The rejump is just like any other character that has a rejump. It is simply a big delay on the super dash, do an air dash JM, and while the JM is hitting, you want to do a buffered dash jump into it light. It looks complicated. It is a bit complicated, but if you can do rejumps, it is very useful to have them for 18. So here we go. And the same endless as before. The trick again is to delay the super dash by a lot, then do the air dash jam basically immediately, and then already before you land, you start inputting a dash jump with a light. You got a couple of options for corner combos. The most basic one is this. There. And you usually have to burn an assist for this. If you want to be a little bit more optimal, you can do the loops. The loops go something like this. The trick for these loops is, after you do the 5H, you have to have already buffered the twist basically immediately. So hit confirming this, the 5H, into a twist is usually, in my experience, a bit too slow, so it will tend to whip if you do it on purely reaction, so you kind of got to be ready for it. So it is 5S, immediately twist during the camera zoom, and you'll be fine. And then the hard part is, after the 2S, you want to do a 5L into a 5H immediately, and then delay the key blast, and then do disc immediately after key blast. So, looking like this. Delay. And you can pick him up with a 5L if you do it right. There you go, there you can see. That's the rhythm. There is a bit of an easier version of this, but it will reduce the damage of the combo, where you just remove the 5H and it's auto-timed. That's an example. Here's a solo version without assists. It's a bit trickier to confirm into though. Something like that. The trick here is that after the 2M you want to delay the disc by quite a bit, but not enough for them to drop out of the combo, of course. That's too much. That was right. And the delay can be a bit tricky depending on character size, but it is a solo option. If you want to go a little bit more optimal, there's a different loop route that looks something like this, and credit goes out to @BamKeyOfficial on Twitter. This is the most optimal route you can do. This does almost 6k and builds over 2.25 meters off of a medium starter. The tricky parts of this combo are the following. So after the initial auto combo, you want to super jump into light, medium, heavy. Not light, light, light. They're different things. So what I do is I hold special while the camera zooms in on the 5LLL, and that will cause every jump to be a super jump. So I don't have to do down up, I can just do hold special and then jump, that's a super jump. Okay, so 5LLL, super jump light, medium, heavy, assist call, and then you can continue from there. The next part, you also need to remember that when you do the jump in light, light after the 17 call, you want to jump cancel into light, medium, heavy again. Then you call 17 again. And then the rest is pretty much all the time. It's a bit finicky, I agree, but it is very optimal and probably worth using. This is definitely the combo you'll have to practice the most to get down consistently. And I forgot to mention the Vanish Confirm. Vanish Confirm is simple. You just do your run up 2M, 5M into your generic air string. You can't get a knockdown, of course. You either do the thing with the tag out, or you do a level 3 and then you put them into mix. So if you want to do your own 18 combos, what you have to mainly look out for is that any smash heavy combos into the medium 17 call, except for a mid-screen 5H. That doesn't work. So if you get a grounded 2H punish, you can, for example, delay the 17 call and then run up 2M, continue into your combo. Or if you get a super dash confirm, you can do light 2H into the 17 call and then air dash Dragon Rush for a knockdown. The corner, basically, you will always want to do 5H into the 17 call, otherwise you will have to do loops. But in the corner, it's pretty easy to do 2H, to hit confirm anything into 2H and then pick them up with a 2M. Something like that. As for assists that she likes pop-up assists. Pop-up assists are the big ones for her. So something like Frieza B works, however she does actually really like Frieza A. One of the few characters that actually likes Frieza A. Something like a Lariat assist, it works, but it's not ideal because it pushes the enemies out of range for 17. For example, like that. She's not too big of a fan of beam assists, apart from the neutral aspect. Works fine at the corner still, I guess. But you kind of want to make sure you got that corner carry. So let's talk about her Oki real quick. Mid-screen, there isn't much you can do. You don't get a knockdown most of the time if you're doing like 5H routes. So it doesn't really matter. In the corner though, as long as you optimize for corner carry in terms of combos, you should end up in the corner, and any knockdown, whether that's JH or JDR, you do a dash jump into medium 17 call. That hits uptech's pretty much meaty. Problem is that it doesn't quite catch the back tech, the regular one. If they if they don't uptech, if they just do regular in place, they will just sit under 17 a bit and they'll be able to 2H you. So what you have to do in that case, let's see. Let's make them do 2H on the back tech and wake up. So the enemy is set to do a 2H on wake up now, after the back tech, so I'm gonna do the same thing again, but this time I'll call an assist. There we go. So if you time it right, you'll be able to convert off of the assist. Now, it is a bit finicky though, depending on your assists. So if you don't have an assist or you don't want to be fiddling around with that, you will have to spend 1 bar of meter. Because anytime you get a knockdown, you can also call EX17, and then as soon as you land, or just before you land, it doesn't really matter, you call him again. Oops. And he'll do the attack. So the mix is, let's make it so, let's switch. For example, make them up tech. You can instantly go to command grab. And then once the enemy is used to just blocking this, you can also add a couple more layers to the mix, because if you call this EX17, you're not locked into just doing EX17 again. You can also go to barrier again, or you can go into something really cheeky, which I'll show you in a second. So this time, let's pretend the enemy is just going to block patiently. We do EX17 call, just before we call barrier, and then we can do an invisible Dragon Rush. So without having to do the combo every time again, EX17 call, we land, we do overheads, we do lows. They can't mash out because the barrier is protecting us. We can do command grab, and then the cheekiest thing you can probably do is, if you notice, 2 EX flashes, right? Because you have to activate it twice. You want to be really mean, use the EX17 pull, and just do the EX command grab, and you can confirm that on your own as well. And then the enemy will not even think about the EX flash twice, because they're expecting this one to come out, but you actually get this one. So, summary, your options are either after knockdown you do a dash jump, medium plus assist, or you spend a meter for EX17 call, and then you either do basically an invisible mix-up, or if they are respectful, or they try and mash out every time, or if they're respectful and just let you do stuff, you can do some even more cursed shit with the barrier in there, which will still keep you safe from mashing, because obviously you are in a barrier. So that's simple but effective Oki. And then the other important part that you definitely should learn is her level 3 Oki. So her level 3 Oki has 2 mix-up options. You can add a couple more, but they're not exactly true. But the basic left-right mix-up is you do level 3, works anywhere on screen, and then you either do just a regular instant air dash into the same side, or you do a bit trickier here. You do a very small dash into the cross-up. It's tough. Or the other option is you do a very small forward dash into a cross-up. And there we go. The one problem with this version of the mix-up is that if you do the instant air dash, that was actually pretty cursed. If you do the instant air dash version, and then you do the dash version, they hit on slightly different frames. So if people block like this, they're like fuzzy blocking left-right, they may be able to block both. However, people usually don't do that. They just commit to one side and then pray. To get the better version of this mix-up, you will have to do a super jump IAD, which is you do down and then forward jump, followed by pressing forward and the super dash macro. So it is a, if we're going by numerical annotations, it should be a 2-9 and then 6 plus SD. So, oops, like this. I haven't practiced this myself in a while, so there we go. It looks something like that. So you just do that after your level 3, and if you do it right, you can either not move at all and just do super jump IAD into JM for the same side, or you do a slight float and hit cross up. I'll just do a couple of times to get both sides for the video. That was same side. That was cross up. So if they decide to do level 3, this is also a safe jump, so it should be fine. If you do it fast enough, they can't even 2H this. So it'll be a meaty as well. So they literally have to hold this. And then usually, as long as you have done enough damage in a previous combo before you level 3, you will definitely lead into a 2-touch, especially if you have the rejumps. Let's for example say I got a 5M starter. I don't get a knockdown, so I'm just gonna go into level 3. I get the mix up, and then I go into a full combo, and I will definitely kill as long as you optimize with 1 assist. If you have meter left over, it's even easier. So this character is a 2-touch machine, as long as you have enough meter to level 3. And just to put emphasis on this mix up, it also works just at any time. If you're struggling to get any significant knockdown as any other character, mid-screen and get anything out of it, you can simply just do any combo, ending in level 1 and then immediately go into 18 level 3, and you will have a mix-up that leads into a 2-touch. That's how good the super is. So in short, after your level 3, your opponent either sparks to save the character, or he guesses which side it is and then potentially loses the character immediately. So it's a great way to force someone to spark early. And let's finally talk about her game plan. So as I've said before, her neutral isn't ideal. She's not very aggressive, she plays more passively and puts enemies into traps. So, you might think, oh surely she must be a point then. Well, not actually, because she needs meter to do her level 3 mix and to get her Oki off in the corner if you don't have an assist. So, more ideally she is on mid or on anchor to get access to more meter, and gets tagged in when your opponent character wins neutral and then gets to tag her in with a special tag, for example. So with this team that I'm currently playing, this is the team I play, Labcode on point, Frieza mid, and 18 on anchor. I play this because Labcode is obviously a strong point character, but also she builds a lot of meter and she actually likes Frieza's assists along with 18. This is basically a Frieza team. It's alright, because Frieza drags it down, but you know. But yes, in this case, and with this team, I would start neutral as usual, and then once I actually get a hit, confirm into a combo, I would try to get as close to the corner as possible, go into a corner combo, tag 18 in, and then put up 17. put up EX17 or use my assistant to medium 17. It doesn't matter which one exactly. But at that point, I'm starting to pressure the enemy with 18. I ideally get a hit in, and then at that point, I should be able to optimize enough to kill the character. If not, I'll have enough meter because of flap code to definitely go to a level 3 and then make the enemy guess for the character. Or spark. If there's spark, it's also a win. Now, the most important part for 18 is to get a health lead in, because when the opponent approaches you, that's when 18 is the strongest. You can use the little health lead bar at the top of the screen above the round timer to see whether you're in a health lead or not, because if you're in a health lead and the timer runs out, then you win. So you only really have to come to the enemy if they are in the health lead, because you need to get the health down. If you're in the health lead, they have to come to you, and you can abuse the barrier like crazy. Like they will try their absolute best to come to you, and you can just do nope, and you punish them. That is the ideal situation for 18. And then usually, if you win the round start, there will usually also be a character down, so they have one less assist, so it'll be even harder for them to get to you. So if after the first enemy character goes down, the screen looks like this, that's probably ideal for 18 to actually be playing on point. Because that way you also have 2 assists, and your combos both get stronger, and your defense gets better with the another assist. And they have to come to you, and they have to consider the assists, and you have more meter, blah blah blah. This is the snowball situation for 18. If the match goes the opposite way and you find yourself on just 18, then this is definitely the weakest position for 18 to be in. Because now you have to get to them instead, the tides are turned, and she, as I said before, she only really has the 5M, and the EX17 call is now somewhat useful because you don't have assists anyway, so yeah, it's nothing you lose. So in this situation, I would probably just back off a bit. Make him think I'm gonna call this 17 barrier when they try to do something, called EX17 instead, and then I have 5 seconds to get to the enemy. So yes, she is very reliant on universal movement and just on your personal neutral without any gimmicks or any lariats or whatever. So in that way, she's also a good character to learn to really move well. And that's it for today's 18 guide. Thank you very much to DashFight for inviting me on. If you'd like to see more from me, I have character guides for most DBFZ characters on my YouTube channel, and if you'd like, you can also follow me on Twitter at TinyTorgue. You can find the text version of this video in the link in the description below, and if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to DashFight for more fighting game content.